How the heck are you? All right. I just had to switch up the intro a little bit. Anyways, enough playing around. All right. So the other day, yesterday? Yes, it was yesterday. Yesterday I was on a walk and I kept having this word come to me, and I was thinking about it in relation to gang stalking, and the word is destabilization. And so there's a couple contexts that you can look at it from, I guess, or maybe you've heard it, but the word's kind of a little bit obvious what it means. To destabilize is to make something unstable. So the definition is the act of making something unstable or less secure. Right? So I'm going to talk about two contexts that I was thinking about and how it relates to the gang stalking and what they try to do. Right? So this isn't going to be like an exhaustive thing, but this is something just to put a term to what you're experiencing, because in my journey, you could say, with all this, I think just being able to name stuff or put it in a category of understanding really helped, I guess, ground me in some way, or just not be so confused. So hopefully this can work in that way. Maybe this can stabilize you, so this is just something that's gonna be part of, the targeting experiences. They're gonna try to destabilize you in many, many ways. So as I talk about these things, spend some time thinking about how this is playing out in your experience. Because one thing that's been very helpful to me as well is not being so reactive and thinking about things and understanding maybe the goals or what they're trying to get you to do, or what they're trying to achieve. That way you're not falling into traps just by being very reactive. And so, for things to get better, you gotta start looking at things a little bit deeper and stop falling into traps, because there's dark psychology involved in this. They understand how humans work, how the mind works, and they're playing into that. And so if you're ignorant to the schemes that they use, you're going to be victim to it a lot easier. So I'm going to talk about destabilization before I get on a rant. But so like I said, it's the act of making something unstable or less secure. And so that can be a lot of different things. Obviously, in the gang stalking, we're talking about your life, maybe your mental state. So one way, when I looked this up, that something that came up, and I'm not an expert in, geopolitical movements or, strategies, but this is something that makes sense to me. And again, I'm saying this to get to a point. So destabilization, governments will do this to a region or a country that they have interest in, right? So they will purposely destabilize a region or a country. And they'll do that through many, many means, right? But you can see this, you can look up examples of this, but the end result, or the desired result, would be to, just to name a few, why they would destabilize it, make something unstable, a region or a country, would be, they want to control, have influence, dominate, or destroy that said country or region, So they have a reason why they're doing it, right? You're not just going to do this for no reason. That's kind of my point, is like, the powers that be are trying to destroy you, destabilize you, for a reason. And I think a lot of it has to do with being able to control you easier, and dominate over you, maybe use you for certain purposes. And so I was really thinking about that. And when I was researching, it was funny because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came up too, and it was talking about, how one of their tactics, again, I'm not an expert in this, but it made sense to me in the point I was trying to make. They try to destabilize their opponent, get them off balance so they can get into a position over them. You see, because like if you're trying to manipulate and control someone, you don't want them to be at their strongest. You want them to be weak. You want them to be unstable, unsure, confused, panic, beat down. All these things are, what happens and can easily happen when you're going through the targeting, right? So again, it's interesting. Both of these are kind of in a militant or battle sense, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, destabilization, or the governmental, war type tactics, right? So this is like, it is a tactic of war, or a battle strategy, basically. And the way that I kind of look at it is like, it's something that's done to make the takeover easier, And like I said, man, I haven't done a ton of research on it. This is just something that I'm trying to tailor to help you guys, because this is something you're going to experience. And I wanted to touch on confusion too. Confusion is a huge thing. They're constantly putting you in weird scenarios and situations that are always altering and shifting. Before you can grasp what's going on, they change it. People coming up to you and saying weird stuff that they shouldn't know. Weird street theater things that just leave you like, what is going on? I know that was happening to me, and that was one of the most confusing and uncomfortable feelings, not understanding what's actually going on, right? And the reason that they do this is, at least one of the reasons I think, is it's also a dark psychology manipulation tactic, where you can confuse someone in order to offer them a solution that they already have decided they want this person to take. It's a manipulation thing. So if I want someone to do something for me, I'm going to confuse them and already have the answer I want them to accept, or the route I want them to take. And so I believe that's what's going on too. They try to confuse and shake up, destabilize you in order to make you go a certain route. So this is deep, guys. Like I said, I can't get into everything, but this is more something for you to be able to take away and think about, like, how is this playing out in your life? So when I was just doing a quick Google search, something that also came out that I found interesting was destabilization in psychology. And that was kind of defined as a state of instability or vulnerability, right? A state of instability or vulnerability. So when you're unstable, you're also vulnerable. You're vulnerable to suggestion. You're vulnerable to attack, because you're not strengthened. You have no anchor. You have no security, right? All that's stripped from you. And that's something that happened to me. I was very isolated in what I was going through all these confusing scenarios. Then I had people that were telling me certain things and manipulating me into believing certain things for a while. And it was just, man, it was a lot to deconstruct and think about, but this is a real thing. So in psychology, a state of instability or vulnerability, and it can be caused by trauma. So trauma can throw you into destabilization. So all these, dramatic and traumatic situations you're in are meant to destabilize you, right? They're going to shake every branch they can, you know? And this is why for me it's been so important to be solid in my faith and my identity, and put my anchor, like Jesus is an anchor for your soul, you know? And you have to build on the rock, solid rock of his word and who Christ is, because that's something that can't be shaken. And even in the word, it says that God will allow the things that can be shaken to be shaken, so that which can't will remain. And anyways, that's like a whole nother teaching. But like I said, there's a lot to this. So back to psychology, destabilization. Some symptoms of that, right? So these are the results of being destabilized psychologically. Symptoms are difficulty controlling emotions, suicidal thoughts, self-destructive behaviors, being disorganized. Those are all very negative things, right? And as a target, they're gonna try to put you in all those states, right? Because all those states are easily manipulated and controlled, right? Because you start to become desperate, right? So you can see the results of all this is just, it's not good. Anyways, I might do a little more on this subject. We'll see. If you guys have questions, that would help me out to kind of tailor a video around specific questions, because as you can see, there's a lot of info and you can go in a lot of different directions with this. But I found it interesting that confusion was also a tactic of hypnotism too, like to confuse the subject and then makes them more suggestible. So I don't know. There's a lot to be said about dark psychology to look into, to understand what they're actually doing, you know? And when you have an understanding of the tactics, you can start to see them play out and avoid them, right? So I would encourage you to look that stuff up, you know, only for not to use it, but to understand how it can be used against you. So anyways, hope you guys are good. I gotta get going. See y'all later.